This week on Talking Pictures with Neil Rosen, we'll look at a new biopic of rock and roll legend Elvis, a documentary on the violent train wreck that was Woodstock '99. My Name is Sarah, about a Jewish girl hiding in Ukraine trying to escape from the Nazis, the new series A League of Their Own, loosely based on the classic film, plus our favorite back-to-school movies. We've got all that and many more movie picks coming up. Hey everybody, I'm Neil Rosen. I want to welcome you to Talking Pictures. It's our monthly Critics Roundtable show where we debate what's worth watching and what's not when it comes to new releases, hidden gems, and Hollywood classics. Joining me today are Bill McCuddy from Gold Derby. How are you, Bill?
Neil, I'm good, but it's early.
It is. And Lisa Rossman is here. I'm so happy, from Signs and Sirens.
Hello, doll.
And I'm also thrilled that my buddy Mike Sargent is here from WBAI and the Brown and Black podcast. Hi, Mike.
Good to be here.
Good to have you. And let's start out with a look at several new films and limited series in theaters and or streaming, beginning with the new biopic, Elvis. Let's take a look at a clip.
In that moment, I watched that skinny boy transform into a superhero.
Well, you may go to college, you may go to school, you may have a pink Cadillac, but don't you make nobody's fool now, baby. Come back, baby, home, play house with you. Always play house.
Please, Lord, don't let him hurt my baby.
Hurt him? Looks like they want to.
Now, I don't know nothing about music, but I could see in that girl's eyes, he was a taste of forbidden fruit. She could have eaten him alive. He was my destiny.
Bill, tell us about Elvis.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank
I
you
had to say
thank you
that.
very much.
Baz Luhrmann is not to everyone's taste. This is the director here. I happen to love it. I've seen Moulin Rouge a million times. This is basically an Elvis fever dream, it's been called, or it should be said, a movie on amphetamines, which would be more appropriate.
But that's Baz Luhrmann.
It's going
That's what he
150.
just said, my friend.
It's going 150 miles an hour. It stars the great Austin Butler instead of, and I'm glad, Harry Styles, who had the job at first, but also Tom Hanks, who's Colonel Tom Parker. And that's what's interesting about this. The inroad they found was the Colonel character. He's the bad guy in this thing. So because the Presley estate has basically said yes to all of this, there's more thin Elvis than there is fat Elvis. That's not a diss because it's still a good ride, but at 2 hours and 39 minutes, it could be just a little shorter. It gives us a really good, interesting look at Elvis, but it could have been a little less for more.
I agree. Luhrmann has a tendency to reduce everything from like Fitzgerald to Shakespeare, to exclamation points and fireworks. And that approach actually, to me, does work with Elvis, who himself was basically sweat and sequins. But given that Luhrmann is so superficial, I actually felt like he should have spent more time on the very early years before he gets drafted. Like, that to me is early. That's the interesting Elvis. Like, once he comes out of the military service, he just started doing Hollywood. It was boring. And I feel like if he
Except for the Christmas special.
if he was,
The Christmas
that's
special was
interesting.
cool.
But like for the most part, his shallow approach means that I wanted just the parts with women swooning and real rock and roll.
That's
and
the best part of the movie.
Yeah, and we don't
That
get enough
opening
of that.
sequence at the
I don't
hay-
give
at the
a crap
hayride
about
thing.
the Colonel stuff. Luhrmann doesn't have the kind of like subtle investigation or slyness to do an interesting interpretation of that. So I was so bored for a good hour and a half of the movie.
Oh, no.
Mike?
Oh yes. Yes.
I guess I'm somewhere in between. I was never a big Elvis fan. I probably liked him more as a kid than when I got older. I like that this dealt with, let's just say, where Elvis got his music and all his stylings.
For sure.
And gave that its due.
Yes. Ish.
Let's put it gave it its due, but in my opinion, it glosses over something that is very quote unquote American, just as what has happened in many aspects of, let's just say, black culture co-opted. But that being said, it's sort of like Elvis's greatest hits. You're not going to really learn anything about Elvis. You're going to kind of wait for all the stuff you've heard about Elvis. And without editing, I do not know how this film could possibly work. It's so much glitz and glam and effects and cuts. And so I think the editing is probably the most impressive thing in this film.
As Lisa said and I said earlier, this is what you would expect from a Baz Luhrmann production. I mean, I did not learn a lot about Elvis here that I didn't know. I learned a little bit more about Colonel Parker, although it was a little hard to get past all those prosthetics that Tom Hanks was using with a very weird accent. That's not even how Colonel Parker talked, and there's other inaccuracies in the movie as well. I say that if you're just there for seeing a Baz Luhrmann spectacle, the quick cuts, the swirling camera moves, the musical numbers are terrific, you know, but if you're there to learn about Elvis, this isn't the movie for you.
We should say to people who are going to watch it at home, it pops on any size screen.
No, that's true. I loved
the
watching
word
it on
around
TV.
town was you had to see this on the big screen.
he's
I think
right.
it jumps off any
He's
size.
right. And you know, honestly, the guy who plays Elvis is really cute. Like, I was surprised.
Austin Butler does a great job.
He does.
And I'll tell you that, look, the end of his life when he was in Vegas and they keep playing Caught in a Trap, I Can't Get Out because he was caught in Vegas.
Painful.
You know, and they
No,
kept
we
playing
get
it
it.
over
That was
and
a
over again.
dirge.
Yeah,
It
it's
was
a
a
little
dirge.
not so subtle. I think that
What's
Baz
subtle? It's Baz Luhrmann.
Right,
Yeah,
but
it's-
you know, I'm saying if you just want the spectacle, if you want to be entertained and wowed by Baz Luhrmann's, you know, directorial abilities, then I say on that basis, watch the movie. If you want an
Well,
in-depth,
thanks, Neil. If people want to be entertained, they should watch
no,
it.
I'm saying if you want an
Great.
in-depth,
Great.
you know, like look at Elvis's
Right,
life.
like I said.
They breezed over the movie career, like you said. They breezed over the marriage. They breezed over his time in the army. You know, this is
I think-
it's style over substance.
Which is
Good
fine.
style.
Then just drop the kernel.
Okay. Next up is the new series, A League of Their Own. It's loosely based on the 1992 movie of the same name. Lisa, take it away.
Well, like nearly every other sentient being, I am a huge fan of the 1992 Penny Marshall feature.
It's the best.
Yeah, it really is. It's a World War II era women's baseball league. It's amazing. And I am a big believer that you should not mess with perfection. Add to that I've been pretty sick of the many TV reboots that have been coming down the pike. And I have to say, I wasn't super excited about this Amazon Prime remake. But there's a but. It stars and it's co-created by the brilliant Abby Jacobson, who most people know from Broad City, and it cleverly covers so much ground around queerness and around race that it almost feels like an expansion of the material rather than a retread. It's a mostly LGBTQ plus cast that includes Darcy Garden of The Good Place as Abby's love interest. Rosie O'Donnell shows up as a butch speakeasy owner. Nick Offerman shows up in a very reduced version of the Tom Hanks coach role. And Shantae Adams plays an incredible pitcher who's excluded from the league because she's black and gets a whole separate, fully built out storyline. Some people are going to have issues with the anachronistic humor and the speech. I found that kind of part of the appeal of its wit and of the story of the first season of the team. To me, more of the issue is that we don't get enough baseball. I would have actually, like, especially if it's women playing baseball,
Yeah.
I feel like it perpetuates the issue that we don't care about women playing baseball. But overall, I think the series is warm-hearted, clever, and honestly, very sexy. If not a home run, a triple.
I don't agree. I'll get to that later, Mike.
Well, like Lisa said, I actually think it is sort of a reimagining and an expansion of the story because of when it takes place in this country. I really enjoyed the character that Shantae plays, and I enjoyed the fact that they actually dealt with these things. I think it's not quite a fantasy, but it takes this pacing of sort of a 50s romp type of film. So it kind of makes it fun, especially when it deals with the heavier things. I like this. I didn't love it, but I actually kind of like it maybe a little better than the original.
Really? You liked it better than the original?
Well, that's funny that he says that, because
gosh.
I'm going to go out on a little bit of a limb here and say that this could turn out to be, as it develops, the kind of MASH version of, remember?
Totally.
So
That's
that
so-
movie
I
was
totally
great.
agree.
Everybody loved MASH, and then
Yes.
the television show
Oh my God,
had
I
its
agree
own
with
energy,
Bill.
its own thing.
I
I'm as
agree
stunned
with
as you are.
Bill.
Alert the media.
This is more like, no, this is more like Aftermath.
No, I think you're
No,
wrong. And
you're
I
wrong.
think,
You're
I think
wrong.
the,
I
the
think he's
racial
right.
component is really intelligently
And the fact that
done,
there's
and it's
so
a good
much
add-on.
queerness.
And actually, if you love that movie, you should think about how much opening it up benefits it, because this is a big, big story that's being told here. I
What he
didn't expect
said.
to like it,
I didn't expect
but I'm safe at home saying this is a winner.
You're
bitch.
safe.
Okay,
And the
listen,
ump.
okay? There's no question that it's a well-intentioned project. It is
If you don't like it, keep this short.
Well, no, listen, no,
Yeah,
it is
keep
it is
keep it
taking
yourself over there.
it is tackling themes that the 1992 Penny Marshall movie either did not choose to tackle or couldn't tackle back in those days.
Sure.
Namely, what you said, the color barrier,
Queerness.
Shantae Adams, playing a person.
Yeah, we got all that.
Yeah, we got that.
Right.
We
Okay.
covered that.
So, and I give it credit for that. But
3
I will
innings
say
ago.
that the writing is terrible. It's awful. The writing on this is terrible. It made
I
me
feel
not
like I
care
covered
about
that.
any of the characters, and the writing to me was so bad that it makes the acting look bad. And Abby Jacobson and Shantae Adams are good actors.
Yes, they
but
are.
it's like I'm watching them acting. That's how bad the writing is. And to me, because
That you were watching them perform indicates that they were bad at their job. I don't understand that.
I don't like the writing. I was not emotionally connected to any of this. This is more, okay, the movie was a comedy drama with more of emphasis on comedy. This is more of a drama with more emphasis on drama than comedy, and it didn't work as a drama for me, and it didn't work as a comedy, and that's why I say, you say it's a triple, I say this thing strikes out. Hey, here's a movie I really liked, and let's talk about it. It's a new 3-part documentary called Trainwreck, Woodstock 99. Mike, tell us about it.
All right, well, you'd think iconic, historic concert that defined a generation, 1969 Woodstock. Could it ever be recreated? Well, could we try? Should we try? 94, they did try. It got rained out. So in 1999, for the 30th anniversary, they decided, let's do it again. Except this time they needed to make money because they had lost money in 1994. And it sounds great. Let's get Michael Lang, he's the original guy. Let's get John Scheer, he financed the original. Let's get MTV involved, and let's do this. Well, it was an utter disaster. I think part of it, when you watch this documentary, because it's in 3 parts and it takes place each day of the festival, it's really, I think, what is currently destroying this country, which is sort of toxic masculinity unleashed,
Lisa?
You know what's funny is I was
combined with capitalism.
Well, okay. First of all, I was at this concert, which is
Get out of town. Get out of here.
So it was so funny
my
to watch.
God.
this
Tear that one
documentary.
tower down?
That was me.
Did you start those
Totally.
fires?
Everything. It was me. I was there to bust up the patriarchy.
Oh my
No, but-
God. I'm shocked.
I have to say though, even though I was interested in the topic, I think it's so freaking niche Netflix to think the story needed to be told in 3 parts. I mean, also I agree that they address the toxic masculinity, but at the same time, they're oddly immune to it in service of the other stories, mostly about the capitalism. This took up a lot of mental space for me that it didn't. Like it could have been a lot shorter.
I had totally forgotten about it. I mean, I knew that they did it,
I'm
but I
with
was
you.
like,
I'm with you, man.
And then I'm watching it and I'm going, okay, I kind of remember some of this. You've got people complaining from MTV that they're being taken out of the Bahamas and brought up to New York. That's going to be a terrible career move. And so there is way too much sort of minutia in this thing.
Elaboration,
But I
yeah.
will say, for a January 6th precursor movie, it does kind of predict what's going to happen in this country that many years later. And for that reason, I give it a thumb or 2 up.
I love this documentary. I mean, I was horrified by what happened. Unlike you, Lisa, who was there, I didn't know too much about this. And I mean, wow, what a difference 30 years makes. Peace, love, and music turned into riots, rapes, and total chaos. And look, I have to blame the organizers for some of this. I mean, they knew what was going on. The vendors were price gouging. They were running out of water. Whose bright idea was it to put it on a decommissioned army base on a tarmac? It's 100 degrees out. It was
a horrible
must have been
experience.
like 150
It was.
degrees.
It
And
was.
they
The
have to-
real problem is they programmed it all wrong. They didn't understand the kind of bands that they booked until they got there and they started tearing the place apart.
But Fred Durst of Limp Bizkit kind of, he was provoking them to even more, like I'm watching this with my mouth was wide open. I couldn't believe it. I was captivated for all 3 episodes. I didn't think it was too long. Maybe it's because, unlike you, Lisa, who was there, I didn't know that much about it, and I was completely in shock about the chaos and the destruction that took place.
So
and
to be clear, you liked the writing in this one.
You're emotionally connected to the
I was happy I
destruction.
wasn't there. What was
It wasn't too much comedy or too much
It
drama
was
for you.
the right balance.
Is your quote slack?
Hey, moving on. Mike, tell us about a new drama called My Name is Sarah.
My Name is Sarah is based on a true story about a 13-year-old Polish Jew named Sarah Goralnik, who during World War II escaped the Nazis and made her way to a farm. And she ends up working for this farmer and his wife and the 2 boys that he has. And there are a lot of things going on within this family that she ends up finding out, a lot of secrets. But at the same time, she has to keep her identity a secret because Russians are coming through, Germans are coming through, the war is going on, and the family and the land is under siege. I like this film quite a bit. I will say it doesn't really say anything new that you haven't heard or seen before. I enjoyed the performances. I liked it, but I can't say, unless this is your thing, that this is a movie you have to see.
Well, you know, we say on this show a lot of times, do we need another Holocaust movie? And this one I think is important. I was really taken with it. You didn't mention it. It's in the Ukraine, which is kind of topical right now. It's interesting to see that countryside. I'm sure it isn't actually shot there, but the idea that it is taking place there is interesting. I thought the acting was first rate, and I'm really taken by, because after the fact, the grandchildren of this woman have come forward and are carrying her legacy forward. I just think it's definitely worth a look.
Lisa?
Yeah, all right. I'm going to say it as the Jew. I feel comfortable in saying that at this point, you're right, I don't think that we need new Holocaust movies that, unless they really introduce something new and amazing to merit the painful territory that really has been retreaded so many times cinematically at this point. And to me, this film is a dirge that lends no new insight into the human condition or this chapter in history. I appreciate the acting was good. I appreciate that it was set in the Ukraine. But honestly, there are a lot of other stories that could be sent in the Ukraine at this point. Save yourself some cash and time, skip it, and whatever you say, I disagree.
Okay, well, first of all, I don't even get where you're coming from here, Lisa. Do we need another Holocaust movie? Do we need another Marvel Cinematic Universe
No,
movie?
and I say that all the time.
Do we need another action movie? Do we need another cute meet rom-com movie?
Yes,
I really thought this
seriously.
was a very interesting movie. There's a lot of plot lines going on here. They're all very interesting. She has to pose. She's come from a semi-Orthodox Jewish family, and she has to pose as a Christian in this town.
Right, he said that.
And I'm not going to say the big reveal at the end and spoil this, but you're saying the whole movie. How in the world does this woman know all the prayers, all the customs, all the things, and at the end when you find out, it's kind of revelatory. Also, there's a chilling scene where they take the whole town, because somebody did something wrong, and line them up and pick out some indiscriminate people and just shoot them in cold blood. I think that this movie, plus the farmer who runs that family that she's hiding out in, that takes her in, he's kind of, you're wondering, is he going to like sexually assault her? There's that undercurrent that's running through the whole thing. I think that...
You're not selling it.
Well, I was just going to say, now no one needs to see the movie because you've told the whole plot.
Right.
But all
if
those
I'm pronouncing
things
this
seen in the
correctly,
movie.
Zorana Saraway, who plays the lead, I think she does a terrific job. And I highly recommend My Name is Sarah. Highly recommend. One of my favorite movies that came out over the last number of months.
Nobody knows that we are fun.
We know.
They need to know.
Who's they?
We are not one-dimensional. We are smart and fun. We have to do this.
This is crazy. We graduate tomorrow. What if we get in trouble?
You know that we are too smart for that. Plus, Ryan is gonna be there. She wanted you to come. You're finally gonna make your moves.
No, she's not.
You've been out for 2 years and you've never kissed a girl. I want you to experience this. What will I be doing during that time, you might ask? I'm going to experience a seminal fun anecdote, and we are gonna change our stories forever. What took them 4 years, we are doing in 1 day!
That was a clip from the movie Booksmart. It happens to be Lisa Rossman's personal choice as we go around the panel with our special back-to-school critics picks of the month. Lisa.
Okay. Beanie Feldstein stars as a Yale-bound high school senior, and Caitlin DeVere is her lesbian BFF. Both of them are dead set on achieving what they refer to as a seminal fun anecdote before they head to college. Now, in so many ways, this movie busts paradigms. The girls keep on discovering that the popular kids that they assumed were deadbeats are also high achievers, which I love. And rather than struggling to come out of the closet, Caitlin is already out, and all she's trying to do is work up the nerve to actually kiss a girl. And of course, this is a totally female-forward movie directed by Olivia Wilde with 4 female screenwriters, including Suzanne Fogel, whom I love. And also, really though, for all the cliche defiance, that's tertiary to just how good-hearted and charming and honestly hilarious this movie is. It is a must-see, except, well, and it's also to me really funny watching it now that Olivia Wilde and Beanie Feldstein have been all over gossip headlines lately for other more precarious endeavors.
Yeah, Olivia Wilde, what's she done lately? We haven't heard much from her.
She's been not in the headlines.
Listen,
Another
this
conversation.
was in my top 10. I love this movie. I'm thrilled you picked it. I couldn't recommend it more highly. If it came and went for you and you didn't get a chance to see it when it happened,
Watch
please
it.
treat yourself. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, I am not on the book smart train. Yeah, beat me up. The comedy was obvious and not funny. Other than the female leads, I felt like I was watching a C version of Animal House. Superbad meets about a dozen other
opinion is
movies.
super bad.
Neil, you are
Super
book dumb.
High five.
dumb.
I can't believe I just said
Oh,
high
my
five to
goodness.
Bill.
Anybody else got a choice?
I don't like this movie.
So you're not a fan. Are we to stop? Are we to learn?
Yeah.
My pick is a classic. It's a Sidney Poitier film called To Sir with Love. What's interesting about To Sir with Love, and it's about a teacher, or actually an engineer who becomes a teacher in London, and has to teach these rambunctious kids, and they refer to him as Sir. What's interesting is it's based on a true story, and the man whose story it's based on did not like this version of the film, did not like the way it was portrayed. He felt it was very inaccurate to what really happened. Now, it is now known as a classic, and believe it or not, it was actually directed by James Clavell, which is hard to believe because people know him for
Shogun, yeah.
and all these other things. But it's absolutely worth seeing. I just did for the new Blu-ray that's coming out, I actually did a tribute and talked about that film, a whole Sidney Poitier tribute. So yes, it's a favorite film I hadn't seen in a long time. I saw it recently. It's a great film.
Hard to believe that the guy it's based on didn't think that Lulu standing up and singing in the middle of the classroom was an accurate portrayal. But I have to say, I love this movie.
Yeah.
And the Oscar-winning, I think, song notwithstanding, and her performance, it's a real treat for Poitier fans and anyone.
I mean, for me, it's just a reminder of how Poitier deserved every accolade he ever received. And it is such a fascinating time capsule of that moment in London. And there's so many breakout performances, including that one from Lulu, which is pretty, I mean, unintentionally funny maybe, but still pretty fascinating.
I hadn't seen this since it came out in 1967, and I have to say, it might look a little dated, but that's only because so many other films have imitated it.
It, yep.
And it's such a good film, and one of the reasons it's such a great film is that charismatic performance by Sidney Poitier, who's just amazing. Plus that Lulu song, by the way, which I heard on the radio as a kid like a million times, gave me chills when I heard it. When I watched it again, it was just like, it just brought back so much
how old does
nostalgia.
that make you, Neil?
I was like 1 when I watched it.
Yeah, okay. Even if you're alive, you're old.
Preschool? I don't think.
All right, Bill, tell me your pick.
I picked The Paper Chase. This is
Mr. Hot.
That's right. You're quoting the Oscar-winning performance that was given by John Houseman, but the real story is Timothy Bottoms, who was in the Last Picture Show before this, and a great little sci-fi thing called Johnny Got His Gun that you need to see. Co-stars with Lindsay Wagner. It's his first year at Harvard. It's all about all-nighters, study groups, and of course John Houseman telling him, Mr. Hot, here's a dime. Go call your mother, tell her you're not going to be a lawyer. This got him out of retirement, was a big hit for him. He went on to make lots of television commercials afterwards for Chrysler.
Television commercial. The movie was so successful that it spun off into a TV series.
Yes, it did.
For 3 seasons with John Houseman playing the.
It has a very 70s kind of BS-y ending, but I really think, especially if you're a college student or about to go to college, this you must see.
This is, by the way, law school, though, which is a whole other thing. Harvard's law program is such a specific, grueling endeavor, and I feel like it captures it perfectly. I mean, I was a 70s kid growing up in Harvard's backyard, and I remember this moment so well, and it was so exciting to watch it, but even if I didn't have those memories, I think this film is so perfectly played out in terms of performances and the plotting and even the clothes. I mean, I love Wagner. I love Timothy Bottoms in this. Yeah, it ends in cliche, but it's my kind of movie cliche.
Their dynamic is so good together, and I have to tell you, it shows you the pressures of law school so much that when I watched it, it completely turned me off to even if I had a faint idea of possibly going to law school. I watched this and I said, no, this isn't for me.
But what was fun is getting to see a pre-Bionic Woman, Lindsay Wagner.
Yeah, she's great.
She's so good.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
That is the most intelligent thing you've said today. Let me take your seat.
Well, my favorite back-to-school movie is Alexander Payne's satirical comedy Election. It's the best thing Reese Witherspoon has ever done. Certainly it's the funniest, as she nails her character, Tracy Flick, an incredibly annoying nutjob, obsessive high school overachiever who'll stop at nothing to win an election to become student body president. It's also one of the best things Matthew Broderick has ever done, playing a teacher who's going through a midlife crisis, is stuck in a boring marriage, and who's out to stop Tracy from winning. This is one of my all-time favorite films. Payne has made a brilliant and scathingly funny satire that takes on so many themes like adultery and corruption, and it constantly surprises you. Stream this one, you won't be disappointed. Go ahead, Lisa, take me to task, beat me up, go for it.
Dude, once upon a time I was a huge fan of this film, but I really am genuinely grossed out by it. You think about it. Tracy Flick is a girl with more pluck and self-determination and brilliance than economic resources or support, yet the movie privileges the perspective of the grown men who want to put her in her place, one of whom by sexually preying about her and actually having sex with her while acting like a victim about that, and the other one who almost cheats her out of her rightful victory. But somehow she is the villain in the story. What the hell? Still, yes, crackerjack editing, writing, great performances, especially from Reese Witherspoon, but such deplorable messages that the entire movie needs to come with quotation marks and a warning label.
This is a very good movie, but you've been
It
championing
aged
it
badly.
for years and years, and I think what Lisa is basically saying is it's kind of dated.
No, I'm saying it's offensive.
Wow, okay.
Excuse me! Will you please be quiet?
I understand where Lisa's coming from because there are a lot of films that when you see it and you were younger and you were less, let's just say, aware, when you see it later, you realize, whoa, it's like listening to the lyrics of certain rock and roll songs. So while I think it's a great performance, it's fun, all those undertones are pretty obvious.
Overtones.
Overtones.
Well, that's about all the time we have. Thankfully.
Wait, she's got more.
And I want to thank Bill McCuddy, Lisa
But not
Rossman,
Lisa Rossman.
especially Lisa Rossman, and Mike Sargent. And I'm Neil Rosen. Join us next time for more fun. Stick with Flick on Talking Pictures.